Hi there, we're in Canva today. This is Stephanie. We've been talking about in the post how to create amazing lead magnets to offer value and some convenience to your readers, like, making them an awesome calendar for a workout plan or a bucket list, a travel bucket list, weight loss goal, worksheet or monthly budget checklist. The sky's the limit. You can just sort of tailor that to whatever your niche is. So we're in Canva. I have clicked on all your designs over here to the left, and it's showing some things I've already created. So let's start with the travel bucket list over here. So that's where I was working on it before, but I'm going to show you how I got to that in the first place. We're going to open up a fresh window here. Okay, so here's the main page of Canva, and one of the coolest things is you can click on Find Templates, and you can just type in bucket list, but at this point I'm just going to type in travel bucket list to get back to that same template that I was using. Okay, here's the one. I reworked it to make it my own and put some color in that I liked, and I'll show you a few other features. So click on use this template. A lot of times in Canva's templates they use upgraded cute graphics that cost maybe $1 each, so you can tell that right away by clicking on some of the graphics and it'll say remove watermark. So that means you're going to be charged for it when you go to download later. So let's do this in the free version here, or my way of doing it free, because there are neat little icons that you can find to replace these ones that would cost money in the long run. So also most of the templates may have items grouped together, so that if you wanted to change the color, change the line right here, just change the overall look, it's grouped together. It makes it a little harder. So you would click on this whole grouping here and you would click ungroup and then click away, and then see you can move things, move them around, change the colors, that type thing. So on this travel bucket list, I wanted a brighter color, so I went over here to the color. It's showing the orange up here. I clicked on the plus sign so I can work further with on the nice color wheel there. Let's choose a raspberry. That looks good. I didn't really like that line, so I'm going to go to elements, go over here to lines. You're going to see a ton of neat options. I kind of liked this laurel leaf looking line, so stretching it over to fit the page there. And I'm going to make that black for a little more contrast. So I'm just again clicking that plus. I'm going to drag it all the way right. Usually it makes it black when you do that. Okay, and obviously you would want to go in and rename whatever you would like. Let's just put, I don't know, let's put England here. So you can just click on the text and rewrite it to whatever you need it to say. It doesn't have to be a travel bucket list. We're just pretending to be a travel blogger today. So a cool thing is, instead of having to, well, those are grouped together too, so forget I said that. Usually, okay, let's ungroup it and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so rather than, I'm gonna have to ungroup all of these. Let me just do a couple for you. Rather than having to go through and undo all the colors, sometimes if you just rather make copies of these things to maybe make a few more lines with squares, say you want your bucket list to be a little longer. If it's still grouped together, you can leave it grouped if you'd like, to make extra checklists to make it a little longer, to give more items on the list. Or if you ungrouped them, let's ungroup, and you just wanted to make extra copies of this text box in the correct color, I chose black, then I would just make a couple copies, drag them down, and then just type in whatever countries I wanted to put in there. So Greece. So you get the idea. Canva makes things really easy by being able to copy elements, either individual ones or if they're grouped together and you do want more checklist boxes along with your text, then you would go over here and copy and just drag to where you want them to be. Now in this other design, I went ahead and put in a couple of free elements to just kind of dress it up. So this is what you would do is go search images, illustrations, and I just typed in plain and hit enter, and you'll get lots of free options, which is what we're going to stick with. So I thought this was a cute plain. You can drag these corners to resize, make that a little bigger. Over here it gives you the colors that are in that plane. Let's just maybe make it show up a little bit more. I'm gonna drag one of the colors to almost black. Okay, that looks really cute, but you can fool around with that and customize it however you would like it to look. And right here, this little rotate circle, I think maybe I'll just point it that direction. I think that's kind of nice. Okay, so we're going to leave that alone. Okay, also there was a compass over here in one of the corners in the other design, so that's right. We're going to type in compass and hit enter. I'm going to try to stay with a minimalistic design here. Let's go with this little guy. We're going to resize it down because we just want it to be just sort of an added element of interest. You can again make that any coloring that you want. Let's put a little raspberry in that one too and see what it looks like. So that may be a little too much color for you. You can go back to the neutrals so you get the idea. You can play around with the colors with those as well. Also, there were some mountains down here in the corner. So I'm going to show you that really quickly and then we'll move on. You kind of get the idea that you can customize these things really to exactly your specifications using as many little icons or as few as you want. Colors, fonts, of course, up here. If you clicked up here, then there are huge lists of fonts to choose from. The font size is there. We could go down a little notch, make it a little smaller. And maybe drag this over to center a little bit better. So you can fool around with all of those things and make it exactly what you would like. I'm going to look over here for just a small, maybe minimalistic design that's in the free category. Okay, here's one. All right, again, minimize by dragging that corner. Just stick it over here. You can leave it black. You can add a little pop of color, maybe. It'll usually show you the colors that you've been working with up here in the corner. So let's just choose pink. All right, and I would go ahead and make all of that text black as well. I try to stick with a lot of black text because I want to be sensitive to the fact that black ink is a lot cheaper. So for your readers, that might be a good thing. Up here, you would want to name your design. I would just I would type in travel bucket list and hit enter. And then over here, just on file, I would hit save just for extra assurance there. Okay, download, and usually Canva auto saves all the time, but I just like to do that extra little save there. So when you hit download, it's going to give you a menu. You can save as JPEG, PNG, PDF standard. I recommend PDF print for these kind of things you're giving away to your audience, so it prints out nicely for them. PDFs are easy to send and easy for them to use. So click off of that. So your download is down there in the corner, and you can click up here to download to your computer, name it whatever you'd like, put it in whatever files you want, and then there you go. That's the first one. So the next list we had was a monthly budget checklist, and I didn't use a template for this one. It's super easy just to create with just using their standard 8.5 by 11 US letter size. So that's the one I chose. X out of that. So it just gives you a nice blank paper. So over here I had some geometric shapes at the top just to give a little added interest. So we're going over here to elements and shapes, and you don't have to stick with hexagons like I had. You can have squares, you can have circles, you can go down and even use stars, triangles, whatever you like. Let's just choose some squares for now. You're going to minimize it by dragging that diagonal, and then get your cursor right in the middle of that to scoot it where you want it to be, otherwise it will start to resize again. And the nice thing is we don't have to keep grabbing those squares. We can hit copy over to the right and start lining them up. You can do several of those. You can do 5 or 6, whatever you want it to look like. We're just kind of decorating the top there of our checklist. So I would probably use more squares. I would fool around with maybe the spacing. The nice thing about Canva is it also gives you those nice centering lines there. Okay, so you can use your brand colors, use pops of color, whatever you like. Maybe let's go and do black. I usually just scoot the thing all the way there to make it black. Let's do alternating black and maybe some raspberry. Just mix it up a little bit. And you can add like maybe one other neutral color in there too. Maybe a darker. Okay. So whatever you'd like. The sky's the limit. You can do repeating patterns. So that looks pretty nice. And I would probably add more squares and push them closer together, but you get the idea. We're going to just make some designs up top. Now I wanted some designs down at some shapes down at the bottom underneath the header as well. So I'm going to just click copy. Make sure it's the very center so I can drag it down. I want another copy of that color. Drag it down. And you just see, you just repeat until you've got everything where you want it. Then we'll stick a heading in between. Okay, so now we're going to want some text, and I would line that up a little bit better, but let's keep moving forward. Text here. You can choose anything. These are some fonts that I've hand-picked. Maybe I'll add the actual heading. So you just kind of click and drag. Grab what you want. I'm going to line this up to the edges. I'm just going to stretch it to the edges of where my squares already are so we can line it up well. And this is going to be called our monthly, sorry about that, budget checklist. You can see it went all the way down out of our lines here. And actually I'm going to stretch it all the way to the edges of the paper, because really that's how I want it to line up. I would probably do a smaller font, so that's where you get your font sizes, your font designs, your choices. So, you know, that's basically how it looks. We're getting close to what it looks like here. I would add more color, more squares, and probably put them closer together, but you get the idea. And then over here we had a line to separate the heading area from where we start our checklist. So we're going to go to Elements and click on Lines. I'm going to grab this thinnest line here, kind of move it up a little, stretch it across, and I think I'll make this black as well. We could make it raspberry. I guess that's cute too. You can make it black or whatever your colors you're working with. Doesn't matter. So here we have 4 quadrants of different areas where they can write in what the budgeting is. The first 2 are utilities and home expenses. We'll show you how to do that real quick, and then you can do your own. Oops, we're going to go to Elements, Shapes again. These squares will be our quadrants. We're going to have to make them a bit smaller so we can fit 4 of them in. Maybe I'll make it a little longer, a little wider, so we have a little more space to write things in. Okay, and again, let's move it over. We're just going to make copies. That's the easiest way to go here without having to do things over and over again. It saves so much time. Okay, another copy. There you go. So, I mean, this goes pretty quick when you learn all the nice tricks. So these are pretty bright. I would do them maybe in some more neutral colors. Yeah, that's maybe clashes with the raspberry. So you're just going to have to figure out what you would prefer. Something really light. I don't think I really like that. Yeah, green's okay. So just experiment on the color wheel. That's nice and neutral. Maybe repeat and go back to the taupe color. Okay, that's not bad. I might do this with a little more towards the raspberry and then hit the plus sign and lighten it up a little. It's still pretty bright, so what you can do is keep it highlighted there. When you've clicked on it, it's kind of standing there waiting for you to edit. Up here is transparency. You can mellow that out a little bit by just going up or down with the color, just so it's not so bright and in your face. So let's just do that. Okay, we've got just sort of some cute colors to work with. Now we have headers, so that's text again, so we'll go over to text. I'm just going to grab a smallish subheading, and again you can customize these to whatever size and whatever type of font and whatever color font you want. So this will be utilities, and I think I'd like to space out the letters a little, so spacing up here will give you that option. Let's go ahead and make a copy of that as well, since we want headers in each of these squares. So making 4 copies does the trick. Okay, you get the idea. One more. Okay, and you would list out each heading as needed for the various things that you would like on a monthly budget checklist. Okay, so the little squares over there, that would be your check areas for them to, sorry, I keep hitting that, for them to be able to check off the things on their list. Here are little check boxes. So you're just minimizing the square from the shape category. You're going to probably want them a little smaller than that. Let's enlarge our page a bit. So down here you can magnify things down in the bottom right. Okay, I want to minimize that square a bit more. And then if we get our cursor right in the middle, we can center it over or scoot it over. Okay, we're going to want to make some copies. If you just keep hitting copy, usually it'll make you several copies. Get in the very middle there. Put them over, and it lines things up so nicely for you. Okay, so you get the idea. You can use as many squares as you'd like. You can line them up as close to the edges, wherever you want them to be. They look a little misaligned, but we could fool around with that a little bit later. You can make it exactly the way you'd like. Okay, so I would make these white so that obviously you can see what you're checking off on your list. So I just type in FFF, that's the hex code for white. And actually, I don't know why I did this. I would do my very first square white. So let me just show you that time saver again. Make it white and then make your copies. Don't know why I keep making that mistake and not showing the actual shortcuts there. Okay, so there you go. Make your first one exactly the size and color you want, and then just keep hitting copy, and that's a super time saver. Over here, elements again. We're going to go to lines, so we can put a line next to each checkbox so they can write in actually what they're checking off. We're going to make that line a little thinner by dragging at the diagonal. It makes it thinner and thinner, and then we stretch and drag it over, line it up wherever we want with that checkbox. I would probably make that black, so I'm going to go up here, hit the plus, drag it all the way to the dark. Okay, so there we have the line that we want, and then we're going to just make copies. Copy, copy, copy. Line it up how we'd like, using those awesome guidelines. Okay, so you get the idea. You're just going to keep working with this worksheet until you have all of that filled in. You're going to go up here and make sure it's titled what you'd like. Go over here to File and Save, and then again to download. Make sure it says PDF print, and then you're going to download it. Okay, and save it to your computer. Okay, so let's move on. That was the second checklist. We're going to do a weight loss goals worksheet next. So worksheets are awesome. Your readers can get a lot of value out of worksheets. I love writing things down, and I think it helps people keep organized and keep their goals front and center when there are things they're working on. So this one just says weight loss goals. It could be any type of goals that you want. We're going to start from scratch. That one is not a template, but of course you could look, over here again and find templates and search around in Canva for anything that you might like to have that's sort of pre-designed. Just play around with that a lot. You may find some great things to work with. I almost always find things I love. US letter size. Okay. So we had a little header that's a banner. Over here, I'm going to go search again and click over to illustrations and type in banner and hit return. And I liked this basic banner here. It was in the free section. You can drag and make it as big as your paper or just a little smaller, and just kind of, I'm going to make it a little smaller. Center it with those nice center lines. The centering lines Canva gives us, they're so kind. Okay, I'm going to make this, we're just going to stick with our raspberry theme. It's probably not the exact shade, but let's go with that. Then we're going to put some text in. Over here we see we put weight loss goals. So text, add a heading. That would be a bigger font size, so that's what I'm going for. I'm going to just kind of stretch it to the edges of my banner so it'll center within that. Type in weight loss goals. I would like it to be a white font, so I'm going to click the plus. White is 3Fs, so we're going to get rid of some of those. There's that. And I might want to space the letters out a little, so there's your spacing. Letter spacing, also with line height, you can go up and down with that as well. So weight loss goals, that looks pretty good. Make sure it's kind of centered there. That's good enough. Okay, and over here we had a couple of little cute icons to dress it up. There's a little scale. So we're going to go over here and type in scale. Look at what they have to offer in the free. And these little, I just love this one with the little feet. So we're going to resize that, drag it over, a little smaller. I'm going to rotate just a little off center is sometimes cute. Just sort of put it over in the corner. And I wanted some gold stars over on the right. I think gold stars are cute because they remind us we're working on something. It kind of gives us the feeling of we're rewarding ourselves as we go forward. Gold stars, hit enter. And I liked this little grouping. Going to make it smaller. Going to rotate it a little bit so it fits in that little corner, maybe a little smaller. See how that looks. Down a little. Okay, that's really cute. So let's stick with that. Then we have some headings. So that's just text and then lines to make up the worksheet. So we're going over to text, add a little subheading, kind of line it up maybe with our scale a little bit, leaving a little bit of white space on the edges because you want your worksheets not to be terribly busy. So let's just write out main goals. This can be any kind of goal worksheet that you would like. And that's centered for now in that text box. If you want to align it left, you can do that. So here's alignment up here for center left or right. So let's just leave it as is for now. We're going to go over here to elements again and lines. And we're going to choose this thin line. We're going to stretch it. Actually, it's a little too thick again. So I'm doing that diagonal thing where I'm shrinking it, stretching to the edges as far over as you need to go. I'm going to make that black. So hit the plus, scoot it all the way to the right to the darkest. Move it down a little. Okay, and we're going to do our little trick again. I like to leave most things in black as far as text and lines so that it costs less money for my readers to print. So make a few copies and just kind of keep going as you make your worksheet. Space it out however you'd like, put however many lines that you would like. It's your worksheet for your audience, so just tailor it to what you think they would need. So that is what you do to make that weight loss goals worksheet. You keep working on it and add what you need. Go up here, weight loss goals, it's already named, but just make sure you title it over here, save. and over here download. And again, PDF print is what you'd like, and download, and we showed you all of that. It will pop up down here. You can save it to your computer. Okay, last thing would be a calendar, and people love calendars. It's my best lead magnet. My bloggers love the calendar that I offer for a daily schedule for them. So calendars are an amazing way to get your audience, to bring them value, and to make their lives easier. It can be a healthy eating calendar, stay on track calendar with productivity, anything you would like. So I found this design by going into, when I was over here, find templates like we did when we typed in the bucket list. So this is what came up with one of the options. I chose this one, and it gave me 12 months of calendar, and I don't really need 12 months. So I went ahead and just took the trash can. There's a trash can symbol here, and it's not letting me go because Canva seems to get stuck with these really large downloads. Here we go. So you can just hit the trash can over and over again and delete all the 12 pages that you don't want. So let's just go with the one that I had already redesigned. So that particular calendar came from going over here to find templates, typing in the search bar calendar, and it brought up this dark brown one, and I wanted to redesign to be, lighter and brighter colors. So I changed the background by just clicking the background and going up here to color, just like we've been doing. Maybe I'll make that a little darker. That's nice. Gives a little more contrast with the squares. I also made these calendar squares a little larger. I think they had it to be really small. So you can just drag that so you have a little more room in those squares. And I lined up the days of the week up here. You can stretch them and make sure they're lined up exactly right. And the great thing is all the squares are there for you. Using a calendar template is awesome because making this from scratch would be really hard. Again, I just clicked on the text at the top and typed in workout plan. We're just going to pretend like it's a workout plan. And then I just grabbed text and I put in text. I had to minimize it quite a bit because this text is really big when you drag it over. It's a 16 font, so you're going to want to go down to 12 so you can fit a bunch in, and then just kind of squeeze this across so it actually fits into your square. And this is spaced a little too far, so I'm going to do line height. That way we can squeeze in a lot of awesome things into each square. I just put for the first one 10 planks, 15 push-ups, half a mile walk. That's quite a nice workout, I'd say. And on the sides were some designs, and again, here are all the colors you have to work with. You can click on each one and just customize to be exactly what color you'd like. Same with this bar up here at the top. You would just click on the raspberry color and make it whatever you would like. Once you've got everything written in your squares that you'd like, then you would go and also title it. Go over here to save and file, and then download, and make sure sometimes it comes up as something different than PDF, so you want to go back over, make sure it's PDF print version, download, and it's going to show up over here, and you're going to save it to your computer. So there you go. There's 4 awesome designs you can use for lead magnets. Hope you enjoy them, and I will see you next time.